So I was right about the alternate timeline being made, or the evil timeline, or in Star Trek terms, the mirror universe that people complained about. And, well, I enjoyed it because, as I said in my other video for the last episode, I like alternate timeline stories. And even though, spoiler alert, but you don't need that stuff because you're obviously clicked on this, the timeline was erased because they fixed it. It was still entertaining to me because didn't know what was happening. It's like same thing happened with the Marvel thing, but I knew exactly what was going to happen because they made a point to tell you. It's like if Fox had come on and spent like a 5 minute thing, 5 minute little video after the last episode saying exactly what's going to happen in this episode, I might not have enjoyed it as much. And hey, there's a train outside. I thought it was funny that in this alternate timeline, the ship kind of gave me a Firefly type vibe, with them being the scavengers and that. And I loved all the small little nooks and crannies of the world building that was put on there. It was nice to see Alara again. Even though I know the actress left for her own reasons, she doesn't really want to come back. But, it was nice she came back for this one little episode, for the small cameo. I got a little glimpse, a little hint that maybe her and John were romantic on it. Thought it was funny that the Union ships can survive the pressures of being underwater, because I thought spaceships could only take the pressure of like 0 to 1. And underwater pressure is like really a lot or something. I don't know the scientific things, but it was from some other sci-fi thing where they talk about how spaceships don't really hold up well underneath the ocean water because of the pressure on it, and there's not that much pressure in space, and the ships are designed to be in space. In this episode, I also guessed that there would be somebody aboard. I thought it'd be like some other random character that would be like on the brinks of being crazy, like, the captain goes down with the ship, whoever became the captain of the Orville, but it ended up being Bortus, probably just because they wanted to have that character for the episode. The action wasn't that much. It was very slightly. I love the little thing of Norm. I can't think of his name. Yavit coming out of the little peephole, like in Star Wars in Episode 6, the little robot guy, but it was Yavit instead. Thought that was a little funny. You got to see some new things of the Kalon can do. Apparently, they can take their heads off. Who knew? Get to see a little more into the relationship of Ed and Kelly, that they, from the characters' own perspectives, they deeply care for one another, but they know they're not good for each other. I'm shocked the kids didn't do anything, or the little one didn't do anything stupid to like screw it up because he was worried and scared. That is a childish thing to do that they've done before. He did that in the Identity episode where he ran after ran away because he wanted to see Isaac, and Tala went after him, and she got shot across the room. So either he learned from that experience, because Tala was on the ship, the doctor wasn't. No way, he couldn't have learned from that experience. Yeah, because the doctor wasn't on the ship. And he is older at this point, so maybe he just matured a little more. It would be a nice little side thing, like maybe a comic or something, because I know they're doing comics for the Orville, like what happened in those 7 years of differences, just to show the difference. Like re-show the parts of Identity to see how the events took place without Ed and Kelly being on the ship. Maybe show how Laura decided to stay on the ship, and also Tala went on the ship as well because she was on the Orville when it happened. So maybe show how those two characters work together. Be an interesting thing, at least to me. If the series does not get a third season, this is a ending where it's not a cliffhanger. It's not like a horrible ending. It's just an ending. It's just okay. The adventures continue because she agrees to go on the date like she was supposed to, and life goes on. So I appreciate them doing that because Fox series, you never know if you're going to continue or not. You always have the cancel guillotine over your head when you're a show on Fox. Normally I would do a recap, but TV time TV time, they don't really work very well. And it's 2:34 a.m. in the morning. So, I usually do one with pictures and that, but I've only found like one image of this episode online for this thing. And that's it from some random torrent site. As long as you don't click the download torrent link and that kind of stuff, you're safe visiting those sites, really, if you have a good pop-up blocker. It's just Tala and John standing next to each other. Some random moment from the episode. And the whole thing starts out with, you see two people running on a planet. They are climbing mountains. They go into a building. They find a food synthesizer. But then the two Kalon ships show up, and they run from the Kalon, get in their vessel, and fly away. It ends up being Gordon and John. Not John. Gordon and Ed. And they make a Twinkie. And as they're flying away, they decide they're going to go someplace else because the Union has fallen, Mocklin has fallen, the Kalon have taken over completely from their invasion. And there's a new species, I've forgotten the name because they only mentioned it once, that haven't fallen to the Kalon because they're almost equally as equipped as them. And they decide to head that way. But they are grabbed by a purple beam. They think it's scavengers, people who will tear their flesh off and wear it. It ends up being Kelly, John, the doctor, Tala, and her kids. And Kelly was purposely looking for Ed because she got all these people together because they needed to fix the timeline. She knows how to. She has a plan. And she wants it to work. And apparently everything fell apart because with Kelly and Ed not being a thing, he would never have gotten to be captain. And the doctor only took the job as captain on the Orville because she figured Ed needed her, and that's why she was on the ship with her kids, and that was made Isaac turn. So yeah, one wrong decision destroyed the universe. And then they go to because they need to get a shot because Kelly has something in her brain that she doesn't have a proper protein, and that made the scan not work, or brain wiper. So I need to give her that, but since the Union is low on supplies, they have to go to the underground unit of the Union soldiers who are still running, like the Resistance, or whatever they call it, Rebels, Resistance. And that's where they see Yaphet and Alara, surprisingly. She is the leader. They call her Lieutenant. She's the leader of this particular unit, but the Kalon have chased them, and they arrive, and Yaphet, and her people sacrifice themselves so that Ed and Kelly and the rest can fly off the planet and go fix the timeline. While doing this, Ed and Kelly says that she kind of hopes it doesn't work so that they can go fly off to some distant planet area and be happy because she's really enjoyed her time with Ed this over the last couple of days, even though they've been chased by the Kalon and all that. And they start to get then they decide to go to Earth because that is where Isaac's machine is, the Asimov machine. And the Orville survived this crash. Even though the Kalon used it to take over the planet, they crashed it when they got done with it. And it went to the bottom of the ocean, the Pacific Ocean and the Mariana Trench. It miraculously survived, and they decided to take the shuttle down there because the hunk of junk they're flying isn't going to do very much. Or wouldn't handle the pressure. So they fly down into the water, and they go down there, they enter the ship. It still has air pressure, it has very small life support, and they discover that they need to have Isaac's brain because it's not completely finished. He never finished his work. But the problem is it will tell the Kalon where they are. One life form is still on the ship, though. It's Bortus. And that's where they tell him that Moclus has been destroyed because he said that Clyden and Topo will meet him on Moclus when it's all over and he survived, but Moclus fell. So Ed takes over captain again because that's what he was supposed to be, as they tell him, and they fly out. John gets Isaac's brain downloaded, and he gets to read the files. And they go to send the doctor back in time, and they overload the ship's engines, and it blows up. And they're all dead. Except for the doctor who goes back in time. But before it blew up, Ed asked Kelly to marry him, and she agreed. And they kissed. And then you go back to young Kelly being taken from time, being returned. But this time around, the doctor shows up behind her and tells her what's going to happen and how she's going to go back to sleep. And she fixes the timeline. The brain scanner disappears, and then she disappears. And then she answers Ed's phone call, and she says yes. And then it fades to black. So that was the season final, and I couldn't use any images for my recap because TV Time doesn't have it. And the only way I can watch it at the moment is on Xfinity's app, and Xfinity doesn't let you take screen caps. TV Time will probably upload the images like 2 days from now or something, or like 7 a.m. or something like that. But the longer you wait, the worse the videos tend to do. Tell me what you thought of the episode in the comments down below, and have a good one, and hi, disliker. 2 more images have appeared since I recorded the video before I went to edit it to crop out the M and the black bars and that kind of stuff. It is how Talia in her Resistance uniform and Ed in his, like their old-timey space thing. Let you see it if you didn't actually get to see the episode. Like, some people randomly, for some reason, watch these type of reviews and recaps before they actually see the episodes. So I figured it's nice enough to add in. And these end up being the stills for the episode because they don't have anything else to use.